Yeah. So we're all set. So good afternoon, everybody, and a warm welcome to the webinar, the second part of the AI for L&D webinar. So some of you may have attended the webinar we did 2 months ago, and this is part two of the same webinar. And those who are joining us for the first time, I am Yogesh Agiwal from Crossover Leadership Journeys. We are a 10-year-old company specializing in longer interventions. So we do usually 6 months, 12 months, sometimes even 18 months journeys with clients, which has mentors. We involve the leaders, and so every month there are sessions, and then we help participants apply that in real life. And while we do this journey for last 10 years, we have also partnered with Tiny Magic. So whenever there is, uh, you know, need for, when I say technology, is not like pure coding type technology, but more architectural strategy on technology, we have them as partners. And I'm so glad to have Sanjay with us today. Sanjay is from Tiny Magic. So we had the part one also with Tiny Magic, with Mauthu coming in and now Sanjay coming in. So this is the webinar that we do every 2 months, and we have been doing this for last, I think, 4.5 years. We haven't taken a break. So every 2 months we do that. There are various topics that we cover. It could, including usually the leadership topic for sure, but once in a while we also get some experts to come for the webinar. So that is how we are here today. I'll take about 5 to 10 minutes just to do a little bit of marketing of crossover leadership journey, so that if you guys like, then you guys can call us. And sometimes I do this a little shamelessly also, but we have got a lot of clients from the webinar because you can experience us in some form maybe, and we usually have this 90-minute session. So I'll take about 5 to 10 minutes to quickly tell you about what crossover is, and then I'll let Sanjay introduce. Sanjay is a very senior industry leader and a great dear friend. Also, a lot of learning I have personally from him whenever I meet him. So I let him also introduce. So let me just take about 5 to 10 minutes to quickly walk you through what we do, in at Crossover. So if you see the website, you will see that we are talking about longer journeys. We are talking about leadership across levels. So usually our starting point, if you look at, is the way an organization grows. So for example, if you see here, you will see two axes. One is the journey of the organization, other is the success of the organization. So obviously we hire people from all over the country or world, and everybody comes with their own experiences, and you create a culture that still gives you result. But when we do an intervention, we look at their mindset, we look at their immunities to change, and try to bring in alignment in their thinking, so there is an aligned culture that gives you a much more higher result. Now if you carefully look at it, we don't want people to become clones of each other, but we really want to have some commonality in the way they think and operate. Now, if you look at any organization, you would need three things. So you would need customers, you would need talent, and you would need execution. So when you say customers, how is sales organized? Are we doing enough consultative selling? Are we growing our accounts? Are we networking? So these are all programs related to customer. Then how do you build talent? So contextual leadership, humble inquiry. It's a very beautiful book by Edgar Sheen, which says that managers have this habit of always giving solutions. And Edgar says that if they can hold on to that urge to give solution, you can actually get much more better ideas than what you can think, and there will be more ownership, more innovation. So meaningful engagement, career conversation, uh, giving and receiving feedback. So all these are all related to talent. And then we just crossed the 100 mark, look like. So I think YouTube will be on now. uh, so thank you so much, all of you, for coming and joining for this session. The last part is execution, which is how much ownership are we taking. So if you see this, and maybe you can visit this site later also to get you an idea how this is organized. So we have got, to achieve this, we got all these kinds of arrangements: a virtual session, classroom session, case studies, mentoring, and we also do 360-degree assessment. And the way it runs is that we have all this. We divide the organization into basically four parts. So senior, mid, associate, and campus hires, and we look at four facets of leadership: self, team, operational, organizational. And so that when people come out of this, and since many of you are from L&D, you pretty much know all this. So self is about how does the leader manage his communication, his emotions. Team is how does he delegate, how does he inspire. Operational is how does he understand customers, numbers, and organizational leadership is how does he influence and collaborate. And the way it runs is every month we have workshops, and then between the month there is a dedicated mentor who works with them to apply it in real life. Then they come for the next session, and then we invite the leaders to come and talk to them. We do a review with the L&D head. So this is how the journey continues, and you can see some more detailing here. So I'll stop here and not go into detail, but I just wanted to give you a broad idea that what are we do, and there are some programs that are all built in ready-made, so you can see, take a look at them. There are four programs that we have: senior leaders, emerging leaders, foundation leaders, and campus leaders. So you can see that here. And we have been doing webinars, and we host it on our website itself. So if you go to webinars here, you can see all the past webinars uploaded on the site itself. It is there on YouTube also, but you may want to take a look at them. So we have uploaded all these webinars here. So we are calling this as Chaska. Chaska in Hindi means addiction, but here it is like content name was very creative. So it says crossover hosted association for skills and knowledge advancement. So that was the idea of Chaska, but it is like Hindi means addiction. And Sanjay and we were discussing, and this time we were even exploring the idea that maybe we could continue these kind of session in more like a lab format where you guys come and share how have you tried something in AI, and we can kind of help you. Sanjay does a lot of his work with companies on AI, so he can also keep guiding you from a more helping the fraternity to learn from each other. So you can see lots and lots of interesting webinars here, with account planning to becoming a talent magnet to networking to unleashing productivity. So you can see all this collaboration. So these are all available for you. You can take a look at it whenever you get a chance. So I'll just stop the webinar, and then we will start with our session today. So those who are coming for the first time, you can also watch the part one of the webinar, where we did little bit of thinking around AI, that how it is changing in L&D space. So while most of us do have been using for content majoritarily, but there are a lot of other areas in AI that we can use. So you can watch the webinar where you can see what are the different areas, and it is over ever evolving. So in last 1 month itself there would have been so many changes. So that webinar might look little outdated, maybe, I don't know, but it will give you some idea in the direction that how L&D is using AI. So let me now invite Sanjay, welcome to the show. It has been a pleasure working with you to prepare for this webinar. And today we are here, I think, cross the 100 mark. So you're one of our luckiest speakers in our series, because you never touched 100 actually. We've gone up to 85, 82, but this is the first time we have crossed 100. So in virtually we clap like this, for Sanjay. So all of you can clap like this for Sanjay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. Nice. So you don't have to unmute yourself, and otherwise it is very unrhythmic to clap. So it's a very nice way to clap. Yeah. So Sanjay, Sanjay, you can also introduce yourself. I know you've been in corporates cognizant for a very long time. Then you've been, consulting on your own, and then for a couple of years with Tiny Magic. So if you can also
Yeah,
share some more background for people. Yeah.
yeah, sure, Yogesh. Good evening, everybody. You can all hear me okay?
Very nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
okay, sounds good. And I would credit the whatever the high attendance not necessarily to me, but to AI, right? The topic does its magic. It's not so much about me. I think everybody is interested in AI and what we can do with it.
Yeah.
Thanks to, I think, OpenAI's ChatGPT, now we're all more familiar with it. We're using it probably more every day.
Yes.
It's fantastic. My name is Sanjay Radhakrishnan. I'm actually usually based out of Chennai, India, but I'm traveling in the US, so I'm actually logging in from near Dallas today. So excited to be with all of you. My background is I'm an engineer by training. I spent over 22 years with Cognizant straight out of college. Had the opportunity to do some amazing things when I was with Cognizant. Moved out of Cognizant about 8 years back, was involved with a startup before the COVID thing happened, and then moved out of that role and decided to do some consulting on my own, and been with a company called Tiny Magic. So in Tiny Magic, we are basically largely a bunch of ex-colleagues from Cognizant, and we work with clients in the area of disruptive innovation. And Tiny Magic has been around for about 11 years now. And so we started well before the Chat GPT and Gen AI thing happened. And so we're very focused on how do we get our customers to figure out game-changing innovation. And then Gen AI happened, and then the whole thing went through, was like turbocharged, right? Everybody was interested in innovation and disruptive innovation and all of that stuff. So a lot of what I'm going to share with you comes from um, our practice of helping clients, our own experiences with trying to solve problems, find game-changing innovation opportunities in our own business as well. Hopefully, you'll find it helpful and useful. So we can get started. I'm going to share my screen. As always, I have a few slides to guide our conversation.
Yes,
But
yes.
we've also designed it in such a way that hopefully all of you can participate. So if you're not ready, please keep your favorite, whatever, Chat GPT, Gemini, Copilot, Claude, whatever you use today, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to demo this in Gemini and maybe one other tool called Replit. But before we get started, I just want to get a sense of what you do today. So if you could type in the chat box, what kind of tools you use today, how do you use it? Like, for example, do you prompt regularly? Do you do more than prompting? Do you use some other tools like Cursor or Replit or any of these other tools? Or, have you vibe coded? If you could just type in the chat box, that will be helpful. I see few people. Yeah, Sonnet 4.6. Okay. Claude, Gemini, extensive use.
Yes.
Very nice. ChatGPT, Claude. Yeah, a lot of Claude and Gemini.
Notebook also Gamma. Ahad is
Gum,
using
right?
Gamma. Grok, yeah, yeah.
Notebook. Notebook LM. Yeah, Notebook LM is fantastic. Grok. Yeah, Grok has come up. I've not used much of it, but I've heard good things about it as well.
Yeah, Sarita is saying Claude, Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini prompt. Yeah.
Chat base. Okay. All right, cool. Anybody here actually have vibe coded apps? Anybody has vibe coded apps? No.
Mm,
Okay, Shiv
sure.
says yes. Okay, very nice. Okay, Sai Sharan. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
perplexity is also there. Sabatini Kavya has used perplexity also.
Yeah. So that
Mm.
Gaurav, some perplexity in there as well. Okay. So I think maybe a few of you have wipe coded. Good, good to know. Okay. So thank you so much. Just give me a sense of uh, the experiences you're coming with. I'm going to share my screen. Second. Okay. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so now, yeah, AI for L&D specifically, what we can do. That's what we're going to be um, talking about. Um, I just wanted to, I just wanted to say that this session is going to be a mix of some concepts, but more importantly, getting to do things. Yeah, we'll do some things together. I'll show you some things, and we'll go from there. Yeah. Okay. So if I asked all of you which type of AI you really desire, this is kind of a rhetorical question now, but I assume all of you use everyday AI in your work lives, in your personal lives right now, right? Like you prompt, you try to tweak an email, you try to do something slightly better. This is something that almost all of us are doing these days because the AI adoption is picked up. So the thing that uh, that we think is important to figure out with AI is the game-changing stuff. It's hard to find, it's hard to execute on. So I'm here largely to talk about the right-hand side, right? Especially in situations like L&D. There's nothing wrong with the left-hand side. We'll talk about that a little bit, but fundamentally, I assume all of you know how to do this. Like a lot of you said, right? You're using all these tools to prompt, find things. Some of you are even vibe coding. That is that is great. But how do we move and find these game-changing stuff, especially in L&D? And I'll offer some perspectives. And, this is sort of a mutual learning session, right? We would love to hear your perspectives on some of the things that you can do, and maybe we can take some of those ideas and see if we can make progress right on in this call, right? And to Yogesh's point, maybe we can have some follow-up, like working sessions, and see how we can move this thing forward. Okay, now we all know that Gen AI is like the Swiss Army knife, right? It can do a lot of things in a lot of, with a lot of use cases and needs. I'm sure you've seen that. It can deal with text, image, audio, different, it's multimodal, all of that stuff, right? Which is fantastic. Now, if I asked all of you a question, right? Do you think AI is a smart intern or a um, Einstein by your side? What would you say? You have to pick only one. You can type in the chat box. Let's see, there's some
Smart intern. Oh,
Einstein used
Einstein,
as
you.
intern. Okay, nice.
Okay, Manisha says Einstein's, but most of them, Sanjay, are saying smart intern actually.
Yeah, most of them will. Yeah, how you
Ramesh,
use.
oh,
Go ahead.
Ramesh is saying it can be both actually. But Ramesh, you have to answer only one. Yeah.
You gotta pick one. You gotta pick one.
Yeah.
Depends on how you use it. Yeah, I understand, right? So, but how do you use it, right? That's the question, basically.
Yes, yes, yes.
What mindset you use it? Einstein. Yeah. So we've asked this question to many people across industries, across geographies, and most of them say it's a smart intern. Yeah. And now, like some of you said, it could be either, right? It could be a smart intern or it could be an Einstein. It really depends on how you think about it. So, how you use it depends on how you think about it, correct? For example, I type something, I want I do like a prompt and then I get something back, I don't get exactly what I want, most of us conclude that it is a smart intern. And then we kind of restrict our use to only something like that, right? And then we walk away from the rest. Some of us do push it. In fact, some companies have now started, like I heard recently that NVIDIA, Jensen Huang at NVIDIA has kind of asked, is thinking about or thinking, or they're already doing that, they're going to give tokens as part of compensation, right? So they're going to give tokens for employees as part of compensation so that they can use it. They're also going to measure how many tokens people are really using. Now you can claim, you can maybe say that, look, Jensen Wong is incentivized to maximize token usage. Well, the
Mhm.
business model depends on it, but I think there is something important there, right? Like people are now incentivizing their employees to use more and more tokens. Jensen Wong says that unless you maximize your tokens every day, you're not actually using Gen AI well enough, right? So you got to keep pushing. So, and that sort of thing can only come if you truly understand, if you truly view Gen AI and the tools that come with it as a Einstein by your side. Only then you will continue to push it. Only then you will try to get the smart intern like, the Einstein like output or outcomes out of it, right? I mean, it's like, what is it called? I think is it called like the halo effect? Yogesh, you are the expert, right? Like, so if I think about somebody,
Yes,
uh, or the Hawthorne effect, right? Or I don't know what it is called, but the, you know, I consider, let's say you are in my team, I consider you to be really good, then
yes,
chances are I'm going to get that kind of thing out of you, right? But if I
yes,
consider you to be dumb or you don't really know a lot of things,
yes,
chances are that's all I'm going to get out of you. It's a very similar thing with AI as well, actually.
yes, yes.
So so AI is very very capable, but I think this mindset really matters, right? We 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 have to sort of not give up and keep working with it to get what we want out of it. It can offer a lot more. We are doing a lot more with it today, but there's a lot more that can be done with it as well. Okay, let's see. Yeah, like there's one question on how I use it. Like I said, right, I constantly remind myself that this is the smartest thing I worked with, even sometimes when I don't get what I want, what I need. So I keep pushing it. I keep pushing it. I keep pushing it. Right. So every day. So you got to work with it every day. You got to develop an intuition of when it works, when it doesn't work, what are its boundaries. But then you keep pushing it, right? And I mean, the last, I don't know, 3 years plus, I think it's just tremendous what it can actually do on different spheres, because it's in the top percentile, top 1 or 2 percentile in reasoning, creativity. It has an IQ of over 130. All of that stuff you've heard in the news, right? In the popular media. But then you got to constantly remind yourself, right? Especially when it doesn't give you what you want, you got to remind yourself, because this mindset is extremely critical. So, okay, now let me ask you this question, right? Have you guys heard about this term called service as software?
You heard software service. Yeah, Ankana
Uh,
has said about it.
uh, no, right?
Karthik, no, yeah.
I'm sure you've heard of software as a service, or SaaS, right? What is known as SaaS, right? Software as a service, that you would have heard. But have you heard of the reverse, right? Service as software. If not, I think it's a term that you have to get familiar with, because that's what is actually happening. I think this was coined by, I believe I might be wrong. I think a uh, software. IT industry analyst called HFS, Horses for Sources, HFS. I believe that's who came up with this term, services software. I don't know, I could be wrong, and it's kind of stuck.
Yeah,
And what it
from
actually,
HFS research.
yeah,
Yeah.
HFS research, right? So they came up with this term, right? Services software, and I think it's important to understand it and its implications for L&D. Now, all of you know about software as a service, right? Software as a service is fundamentally, um, like Salesforce. Salesforce is the one that defined the category many decades, maybe a couple of decades ago or more, right? Where you don't have to buy software licenses, you buy software subscriptions. So it was a business model innovation, right? So it's on the cloud. And right now, if you think about your Netflix, everything is like SaaS, right? Nobody installs software anymore. Nobody buys annual licenses anymore. You just buy the SaaS subscription, like monthly you pay per user. There are different subscription models, but fundamentally, essentially, you rent the software and its features. So the tool is available on the cloud, on the web, and you just use it. So it's a business. It is a business model innovation, very popular. A lot of SaaS companies. SaaS has been like a revolution. Everybody's like a SaaS, all startups, after that it becomes SaaS startups and so on and so forth. Now, services software is is kind of building on that terminology, but it's slightly different, right? What it says is that it's an emerging outcome-focused business model where AI agents and automated systems deliver a complete service rather than just software tools to achieve a desired results. And this was not possible before AI. Can anybody guess why? Why is this not? Why is this only possible with AI?
People can
Services.
unmute. Yeah, unmute also and speak. It's not that you have to only chat. You can
Yeah, you
talk
can
to some.
speak
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Please. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Why is services software possible only with AI and not before that? It's not an easy question to answer, but let's see.
Yeah, if we were in the classroom, we
because
would have.
Yeah, Vijay. Yeah,
because
yeah.
software does not have the creative mind, right? But the Gen AI has the creative mind, and it can tweak the user's queries according to the situation, and it can give the output.
Ah, very nice. Yeah,
Vijay,
excellent. Uh-huh.
Vijay.
Vijay has his hand
Yeah,
raised.
sorry. I think it's because there's an end-to-end integration now. Okay. Earlier, it used to be in diverse areas, and you had to, bring in data, I would say, and as well as the components to plug everything together. Now, I think it's easier to stitch it, far more easier to stitch it, and you don't need such intensive efforts. That I believe is the reason why you get service as software easier to make it versus earlier.
Very nice. Okay.
Mhm.
And then Ramesh Mantana says it can build software. Yeah. I think that's the key, right? See, previously we used to deploy software. Now we can have the ability to deploy intelligence which can do things, including building software, right? It can do a lot of things. And that fundamentally changes the game. Because see, service is fundamentally about intelligence, knowledge, reasoning, creativity, all of that stuff, right? Now, like I said, generative AI is in the top 1 to 2% of all these capabilities: reasoning capability, creativity, knowledge, right? All of that stuff. So fundamentally, now you have an ability to turn a service that humans do, and we'll see some of that in the L&D context, right, into software. This is extremely powerful, and the analysts like HFS are saying that, and others are saying this is like multi-fold bigger opportunity than what SaaS was. SaaS was already big. If you think SaaS was big, this is like order of magnitude bigger than SaaS. This is the other SaaS, right? Like the services software. So that is a very important trend to follow and understand and what its implications are. So a shift from do-it-yourself software to done-for-you automation, which was only possible through services. whether it's L&D services, marketing services, or whatever services, right, that you're offering. So traditional software gives you tools, services software delivers outcomes. So we have, because without services, yeah, software by itself cannot deliver outcomes, right? Human beings have to figure out how to use it effectively. Only then outcomes can come. Now you can go further into that value chain, embed yourself further into that value chain. You can embed yourself further into your clients and users, value chain journeys, and push towards outcomes. That's why if you've heard, like, SaaS companies are getting uh, discounted in their business models, and their future promise is getting discounted, right? There's a SaaS crash sort of that happening in the marketplace. I'm sure you heard of this in the news. This is why, right? That there's a fundamental business model shift that is happening, or at least people are thinking this is going to happen, right? Faster. So SaaS companies is figuring out, how do I deliver more outcomes rather than just the tool, right? Because now that is possible. So you have to think in terms of delivering outcomes. In fact, IT services companies are thinking more in terms of outcomes now, right? As well. So this is an important thing to understand. Now, let's connect this to something that's happening in the L&D space. How many of you are aware of Bloom's 2 Sigma problem? Please don't chat GPT or Google it. Anybody aware of Bloom's 2 Sigma problem? What it is? No? No. Okay. So Benjamin Bloom, I believe in the 1980s, came up with this observation that, yeah, Bloom's taxonomy is very famous, but there is this thing called Bloom's 2 Sigma problem. That is basically that the idea that people who received one-on-one tutoring perform 2 standard deviations or 2 sigma better than those in traditional classroom instruction. So if I get one-on-one coaching, one-on-one instruction, like going for a tuition, right, where a tuition, whatever, sir or ma'am came and taught me one-on-one, say math or physics or whatever, chances are I will do 2 standard deviations better than people who just sit through classroom instruction, right? Just simple classroom instruction alone. This was Benjamin Bloom's observation, and which kind of makes sense, right? If you think about it. Now, the question was, and this is when it became a 2 Sigma problem, 2 Sigma observation, is that how can we replicate this effectiveness of one-on-one tutoring at scale? So the problem remained until now. Right? Can you guess why? Now there is promise of solving this problem, the 2 Sigma problem. Anybody? See if you can connect the dots.
AI can play that role of a tutor, right?
Exactly. AI can play the role of a personalized tutor. It's infinitely patient, infinitely knowledgeable, infinitely creative, infinitely reasonable, right? Yeah, exactly. So we have real AI, right, that we can all use, and it can do lots of things. So it can, so truly, I think the promise of, yes, Vijay, you have your hand up.
Sorry, okay. Different point. The Bloom's 2 Sigma problem, is it applicable in an adult learning setup? Because it is one of the fundamental principles, and I'm sure others in the group might agree with this, is when you put people in a room, you put people in a room, there's a lot of the room itself. The learning comes from the room itself, not necessarily somebody standing up front. Obviously, someone standing up front is delivering the content per se, but there's a lot of group wisdom which goes on. But that's my question: is the Bloom's 2 Sigma problem, 2 Sigma principles, not problem, applicable to adult learning as well as it is applicable to a pedagogy or child learning? Would you know?
I wouldn't know that. See, I think I'm not arguing against classroom training, right? It has its advantages. Social learning in a group, or what is known as cohort-based learning these days, has its advantages, right? But it has its disadvantages too. Just like one-on-one learning has its advantages and disadvantages, right? Now, we are trying to see how we can maximize the advantages of one-on-one learning. There are advantages to one-on-one learning. How do we maximize that? So far, we have not had an opportunity to do that because there's no way to actually scale it. I often ask this question, right? I do a lot of work with freshers out of college in with IT services companies. We do this thing called fresher skills acceleration. And one of the things I always ask is, out of 100 teachers you've had in school through college, how many of them truly helped you learn? Right? And usually, and in a typical classroom setting and all that stuff, right? Only one or two. Why is that? Why is it not 70? Why is it not 80? Why is it not 90? Because I would argue, even though people want to teach and they have all good intentions of teaching, one is there's a knowledge problem. Not every teacher is knowledgeable, right? They're doing their best. That's all they can do. The second thing is, you need personalized attention to make you learn, right? In a class of 40 or 50, it's very difficult to learn. Yeah, you can learn through other ways, socially observing things and all that stuff. But fundamentally, why is it only one or two? Why can't it be like 100 out of 100? What is actually stopping us from doing that? So I believe that, exactly, there's an understanding gap, right? Because the education system, if you really think about it, I'm talking broadly about school, college, that sort of system, right? It's not meant to drive personalized understanding for me, right? It's meant to cover syllabus, and I have to, because the teachers have to keep going, right? Because there's already under pressure to to move in a certain direction. They're already behind their syllabus and they can only keep moving, right? It's up to you to figure it out, actually. So I believe that there is a tremendous opportunity, right? Yeah, exactly. If you're an introvert, you don't ask questions because you're shy about asking questions. I've been an introvert, right? And I still consider myself an introvert, and I struggle. Sometimes I will not open up in a group, ask questions, because I don't want to be judged. Especially when the teacher is under pressure, they're not going to allow you to do that. They're going to be like, keep moving. And some teachers will sit with you one-on-one after class, etc., right? Yeah, the pace is different. The prior knowledge you come up with different. Your personality is different. Your choices are different. All of this is different, right? So it's very difficult to expect everybody to learn in the same way, although there are advantages to sitting in a group and learning. Nobody is kind of arguing that. But what we have missed out largely on is this aspect of one-on-one tutoring, which has tremendous advantages, which is the inspiration I take from this 2 sigma problem, right? From this 2 sigma, whatever principle that Benjamin Bloom has observed, right? What do we do about it? So far, we have not done much about it because it's hard to find teachers who are so knowledgeable and so passionate, at scale. It's very difficult to do that. I don't think we're going to ever get there. But what if we use, and in L&D, like some of you said, right, there is an understanding gap. It's not so much information gap, right? Content is free these days, correct? You don't even have to Google these days. Even if you Google, I think it'll package everything and give it to you as an answer, right? Like Google AI mode is there, right? I'm sure all of you have seen it. Even if you Google it, AI will kind of package that answer and give it to you because it can read your intent and context, understand your context and all that stuff, right? On top of that, you have other tools, right? Perplexity, ChatGPT, Gemini, and so on and so forth. So the biggest unsolved problem in L&D continues to be learning effectiveness, correct? I mean, this is why you have the Kirkpatrick levels and whatnot, right? Everybody is kind of trying to, the business, your business partners are looking for, business stakeholders are looking for more effectiveness of learning. And that continues to be a challenge, basically, right? And here's an opportunity to actually move the needle on that, right? With, of course, AI, like you pointed out, um, gives us a way to solve it. Right now, it's not going to be easy. Like nothing worth doing is ever easy, but it definitely gives us a lot of hope, and a lot of people are actually working in this direction. Not by creating better content, but by delivering better learning outcomes, right? Because, like I said, content is free, right? I don't think people can get content from ChatGPT now very easily, right? Because it has ingested all the content out there, at least publicly available content out there. And now you have access to it. It can actually give it to you in a way that you really can understand all of that stuff, right? All of this we know. So, but how do we actually deliver better outcomes with it? So what if solving Bloom's two sigma problem is L&D serve as a software moment? This is the thing, right? Like it could be L&D's serve as a software moment. And so what about if you deliver two sigma better learning outcomes at near zero marginal cost, right? You can keep on adding people and AI can keep adapting, right? And the marginal cost is almost zero, right? Which is what we were looking for, zero marginal cost, right? That's why it's not scaling, basically. So I think this is a very, very promising, game-changing AI opportunity. Of course, it's not going to just fall on our lap just like that, but we need to, if we start seeing the world in this way, right, and start moving in this direction, then we can hopefully have some promising things. And I believe companies are actually working in this direction. Okay. Now, not only the two sigma problem, there could be other opportunities as well, right? In the L&D sort of life cycle, there could be many other things where it could be reimagined as a service, a software opportunity. And, this is at a very high level, the different stages in the life cycle, right? Like training need analysis, and design and delivery, and getting people to practice, and assessment. Assessment is a big area, right, for this, and analytics of how people are, they're tracking and generating insights from it, and so on and so forth. So in each of these stages, I believe there are these services software opportunities. Let's see if you can type in the chat, or you can just your thoughts and ideas on what comes to mind, right, as you think about these stages. What could we do in these stages where we could actually do these services software opportunities? You can share your thoughts. That would be great. All of the above. Yeah, sure. But I think if you could.
No, but seriously, sorry, go ahead. Saying something.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it's all of the above. But if you could pick one specific thing, Vijay, what would you pick that you are very keen on exploring?
I would pick context-based diagnosis, right? Because we usually give a very cookie-cutter approach, saying this is what we have and this is what. But every business, every industry, and within the same company, every levels are different. And people have, and even within the same level, people are, people. Different. I would look at context-based, diagnosis. That would make a lot of. I would believe it makes a much more impact. Remaining are still runtime. Have become another middle innovation, so to speak. But the context-based diagnosis sounds very interesting to me.
Okay, context-based diagnosis. Sarita is also saying context-based diagnosis, analytics. Anila is saying insight generation. Satish is saying insight. Ahad is saying delivery, training need. Okay, interesting. Okay.
I guess, Sushmita here,
Yeah,
I would also go with the context-based diagnosis primarily to answer the first question. We were talking about the effectiveness measurement. And one of the, again, the elephant in the room for any L&D meetings is that what is the outcome or the impact? It boils down to the fact that, the need of that particular business has not met. And it's behavioral to a large extent. So if it has not been diagnosed properly at the first go, then whatever efforts a person can give is exactly giving the example of the teachers. Every teacher would do a B.Ed and go ahead, take those many hours of classes, try to get qualified, but still only few of them are remembered. So again, context base is very important. And today's, as we were starting the call, Yogesh said that in 1 hour, so many things are changing. So by the end of this call, probably four new things will have come up. And if the business is not up to speed on this, then the context goes out of the window. So
Yeah.
yes, that is something very crucial. I just had a very quick question, Sanjay, if it is a little premature because I
Yeah.
have to run. While we are talking about the use of AI, and there's no doubt that this is the new tool, and while the debate is not that whether it's Einstein or the intern, point here is that do you, in your experience, think that the human-based interactions which we have, specifically from a mindset shift, specifically from the convincing part, okay, while I can do this one-on-one, I would have to have that intention of sitting and doing this one-on-one. I may have a wonderful tool to help me out with it. But do you still think that it is human dependent in terms of actually getting the horse to the water and getting the water to the horse? And
Yeah.
then how does that work?
Yeah. No, it's a great question. And I see some comments that align with that question in the chat as well. I think this is very I'm like a recovering technoholic, you can say, basically, right? So a technoholic fundamentally believes that technology can change anything. And technology has a lot of power, right? Don't get me wrong, I'm an engineer by training. I work with technology a lot. I think there are limitations to technology, including AI technology. And I think I came across this very, 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 I think it's a brilliant insight by a guy called Kentaro Toyama. I don't know if you've there's this book called The Geek's Heresy, right? By Kentaro Toyama. Kentaro Toyama learned this the hard way, actually in India, working for Microsoft Foundation, based out of Bangalore. And his central sort of insight is that technology is a force multiplier, it's not a force transformer, which is what Sushmita you are referring to. So, which we will talk about, by the way, right? So, for example, all of us have access to AI, but why are we not all uniformly using it to benefit? The technology has the potential to take us further, correct? But some of us are using it less, some of us are using it more, some of us are getting more out of it, some of us getting less out of it. Why is that? Is it the technology's responsibility to do it? It's not. Because technology's fundamental quality is not to transform you. It can only multiply whatever you show up with. Yeah. So if you want to show up with just ticking the box and complying with whatever learning, technology will help you multiply that also. It will multiply your compliance. But if you want to show up with real, wanting to really learn, wanting to really improve, it will multiply that also. But it is not technology's role. Neither can technology actually do this. It cannot change you. It cannot transform you. You need human beings to transform human beings. Only life experiences can transform you. Technology cannot transform you. But technology can multiply. Let's say I have this drive and this hunger and this fire to learn. It can multiply it a great deal.
So, Sanjay, thank you so much for that. In fact, it goes back to those mythological days when you have something called as the Paras money. You have that sacred stone, which depends on the user as to how he or she would want to kind of go ahead and use. So we have the Paras money today. Of course, humans bring in that particular variable in the entire dynamics. coming from an L&D field, and I'm working closely with Yogesh for a little over a year and a half, I guess this is something which goes true by saying that every time the human intervention happens, interaction happens, things go in a very different dynamic mode. But your research definitely is stand worthy in terms of how software as a service is something which we had already known, but service as a software is something which we are trying to get our minds across. So yeah, thanks. I guess you can continue, but I might have to leave this meeting in some time, Yogesh. All right.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. I think we'll quickly move to the practical part.
Yeah. Thanks. But I think it's an important distinction to make, right? I'm not saying that this is going to solve all your problems. You still have the problem of getting people, the horse to the water and all that stuff that you said. That's still a very human domain, human dynamics problem, I believe. It's like a life dynamics problem. It's beyond just human dynamics, right? Because maybe my pet can transform me also, right? But it requires there's something going on there that's beyond technology. Now, I gave this question to everybody, right? Show me one technology that has transformed you. I have not come across one so far, but there are several technologies that has amplified my human drive, whatever I come up with, whether I show up with compliance or whatever, it is amplified. That is very evident. But I've not come across a single technology that has actually transformed me to this day. And like I said, I'm a recovering technoholic because of that. Anyway, Kentaro Toyama talks about it brilliantly in his book. If you're interested, you can talk about it. So, okay, now we're going to move to the practical aspect. I am going to give you, so let's just take the needs analysis part. There's a lot of people showing some interest in that. So I am going to share with you, so we're going to actually build some software, right? So typically what you will do some surveys, you'll talk to people about it, right? And I'm sure there are tools that are already available, SaaS tools that might be available. But what if we want to go deeper? Let's say you have something specific for a specific need, for a specific symptom, for a specific challenge, you want to do this. Now this is possible, correct? Instead of just using some SaaS software off the shelf. So we're going to actually construct we're going to actually do this, and I'm going to share with you a simple prompt on the chat. We can use this, or we can type, if any of you have a specific need, you can talk about it. I can even customize it to that need, and we can do that, right? So it's up to you. You have that opportunity. I'm going to share this thing. One second. So I've opened Gemini here, right? and I'm going to show it to you in multiple tools so that you get a sense of it. First, I'll just open Gemini, and this is the prompt, right? I just put in the chat. I'm going to just put this in, right? Anybody wants to change anything here for your need? If you have some specific need, please call it out. We can do that, because some of you said we're interested in the training need analyzer. If you have some context you want to describe without revealing too much information, you're welcome to do that. Is that okay?
Wouldn't you want to put a persona on it? Like you are a senior instructional designer or something. Would that make a difference? I'm just asking.
So we're going to build an app, actually. Why put an app? Right? I'm going to move to have you guys used canvas mode? You can try canvas mode in Gemini. I want to build a app, right? We're going to start with something simple. Want to build a training need analyzer app for leadership and behavioral training. So let's just say that, right? This is how we typically might start off with. You can all try this out in parallel, right? And see if you can get something more creative, more deeper to what you are trying to do. So it's obviously trying to build something. These things are really, really good. I worked so much in, so it's built something, right? So if you go to, so you can see the preview here already. Let me just share this. I can share it and paste it in the chat. You can use it, right? So if I click on it, this is how it comes across, right? Okay, so now we have something. The dashboard, there are some assessments, there's a training catalog, ROI, all of this stuff, right? Now tell me, is this okay? What do you think?
Well, the efficiency with which it can work is amazing, Sanjay. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
Only to see if it is still going to be effective. Has it built a good one? Those
yeah,
things are definitely, it's what I was talking about, the human in the loop, right? So I
yeah,
can't just blindly take that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what can you not take in this? What would you like to change?
So see, you're talking about assessments, right?
Yeah,
So I don't know if those assessments are in line with my requirement because I just give it one single prompt
yeah,
saying that I'm building it for leadership development, right?
yeah,
But there are so many other dynamics that revolve around it. They have to be
yeah,
apt assessments for the specific role on the specific levels, which I haven't told it yet. So if
yeah,
I want that re-engineered for me, probably I'll have to fine tune my prompt and then get a better one. So those kind
correct.
of background stuff is definitely pending from the human side, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. So how would you like to assess then? So those inputs that you want to give. Training catalog, assessment, ROI reports, need analyzer. What would you like to do? So, for example, we said contextual need analyzer, right? There is no context about this, correct? It's kind of showing some dashboard, something. Of course, because like what Karthik said, right? I just gave some very vague prompt and it kind of that did something, basically, which is okay. So I go back here and then I give something like this, right? Can the new assessment end in such a way that a person describes their struggles with some context that's derived from it and mapping various modules are shown, right? So I put this thing in. So it's trying to update it with something more. Let's see what it does. While it is doing that, let's do one more and then come back to this, right?
Yes.
I'm just going to use this. We can also do this, right? So you've heard of simulations, right? Have you built any simulations with Gen AI? Anybody? Which is what we're going to do, right? This is the practice part of it. I'm going to share this prompt. Thanks to Yogesh who came up with this. We did this together. So you can try this, right? So I'm going to open a new Gemini window and I'm going to cut and paste the same prompt. You can actually change it to your whatever needs, right? This is the other part of the, one second. Just need to copy this
So Sanjay, people can just copy the
prompt.
prompt that you have given in the
Yes.
Zoom, in their own Gemini and see how it
Yeah,
works.
in their own Gemini, you can try, right? So for example, want a simulation that can help our salespeople to, so let's say you want to build a sales simulation.
Right,
And this
right.
has some very, very specific, this is a much more slightly sophisticated prompt. And dealing with customers who beats them up on price. It says it's an
Hmm.
Indian, it's in the India context and tough customers and all that. I don't know if it says India context quite yet.
Yeah, it says, yeah. So, yeah. So the
Okay, in
simulation
India,
should
dealing with customers.
interact.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, simulation, all that, right? So I'm going to share, I'm going to build this, right? So let's just put it in canvas mode. So this is the other one. While this is building, let's go back to this, right? So it's building.
So if Sanjay, they want to use cloud or anything else also
They
is
can use
okay.
any tool. They can use any tool. You can feel free to use any tool and see if you can actually share your, share your thing, right? So it has done something different. AI context assessment. I click on it. Okay, it's asking for my name. It's a consultant. I'm unable to.
So while you're doing that team, you guys want to try the simulation for the sales team and see how it is creating for yourself.
Yeah, so I'm doing this. So now it's added this stuff, right? So and look at this, right? It's already built the simulation. So let's just say I'll copy this. Okay, link is copied. You can try this, like simulation done, right? Now imagine the power of this when you get very, very contextual, right? To that particular audience, to that particular function, to that particular problem. It's extremely powerful, right? No SaaS can do this today. Even if you buy a SaaS software, you have to upload something, you have to customize it, you need to figure out a way to use it. Now you can actually go deeper. This what used to be a service, now you can be turning into software, right? So so it is kind of created a simple simulation, right? So I guess enter the meeting. So it's kind of I've seen your proposal, I'm technically sound, but your pricing is way off. We are talking about a 15 crore budget here. My finance team says they can get this done for 11 crores. I like you, but I can't justify this. Give me a 25% discount right now. Okay. All right. So you could say, so you can put some voice mode on if you want, right? All that can be enabled. Or I have to go with that and vendor, what do you say? So let's say we say something like, oh, I understand your concern. We offer better outcomes compared to the competitors. You are considering you get what you pay for, and we believe for kind of outcomes you are looking at, it will take kind of effort to make it happen. So I say something like that. Yeah. Don't give these textbook value statements. You said it's very strict and all that stuff. I've heard you pay for, but whatever, right? So coaches insight also it is added. Okay, so it has done it. So as you can see, right, again, I think to Karthik's point, you need to customize it to your whatever competencies and whatnot. But fundamentally, you have this ability to move this thing forward, right? Okay. Anybody built anything? Let's see.
Trying to do something in Perplexity, but it's taking too long.
It's taking too long. Okay.
Let me kill the session and try again.
Yeah. Please try. There's no risk in trying, right? This is how you can really build your muscles, right? Learning muscles.
Yeah, Ankana has a question that how to publish such app to learners.
Yeah, so I think that is a good question. So the way you use these tools is to for two purposes, right? You can use it as a limited production software. And I say limited product. You can use it as a prototype, which is to show somebody what you actually want, right? And if you have an engineering team or an IT team working with you, you can actually show them this and say, this is what exactly I want, right? This is the sort of thing I want, and they can take it, they can deploy it for you, they can help you evolve it. This is one way to operate, right? The second way to do so you kind of you're not giving them requirements documents or requirements anymore. You're giving them, actually showing them how the thing should actually work. In fact, now in many product companies, they're not building PRDs anymore. In fact, if you do PRDs, you're already behind on product management. Product managers are now building this sort of stuff, right? And sending it to their engineering teams to build it. So that's one way to operate it. The other way to do it is to actually build what is known as a limited production software. So what's the best for you to deploy it? What's the best thing to what is the best language to vibe code in? This is vibe coding, right? What is the best language to vibe code in? If you want to deploy it yourself and for somebody to use it, can anybody tell me? This requires some knowledge of, yeah, it's actually HTML and JavaScript. You do it in HTML and JavaScript. Can you tell me why? Why should you do it in HTML, JavaScript? Which, by the way, this is actually running in HTML and JavaScript, right? Like, for example, it is hosted. I could, so for example, this particular thing, you've built it and you hosted it, right? If I go here, you look at the code, I think this is JavaScript right here, right? So I can, let's see, review and code. Console, right? So this is all running in the browser.
There's no need to host it anywhere. Is that what you're saying?
Sorry?
There's no need to host it anywhere. It can just be a standalone web app.
Exactly.
Okay,
it could be a local HTML JavaScript. So I think it depends on your use case. It has its limitations.
Okay.
But fundamentally, you can just export it as a HTML file and just share it, like distribute it. So there is this thing in Tiny Magic. We have this thing called limited production software, right? So limited production software means you don't need anybody's help to host it, that sort of thing, right? Because that usually becomes the bottleneck. In some cases, you need to do that. Now, I would argue that I will show you something. I'll show you one thing more. Okay.
So Ankana, while Sanjay does this, you could actually even give this link to everybody and people
Yes,
can.
you can give the link to everybody and they can use it.
Yes.
Limited use, right? Because you want people to use it and give you feedback, right? That is
Yes.
That is important. And 1 second, let me just see if I can show you. Yeah, I want to show you this, right? So if you go to this page, I just shared a link on the chat.
Yes.
I'm going to share with you this site, right? This is a much more comprehensive simulation. You can actually try it out. It's hosted by me. You can try it out. It uses some tokens that I have, etc., etc. But you get a sense of it. Now, I just wanted to say, I use a tool called Replit. And I'd highly encourage all of you to buy your own monthly license and all that, right? It costs some $25 a month or something like that. Or you can buy Claude Code. But buy one of these things and start using it. The fun thing with Replit is you can actually, without knowing any coding, you can build these things. More importantly, you can host these things. It'll have database, persistence, all of that stuff, right? So it solves the hosting question to a great extent. It doesn't solve the integration question, right? Because, yeah, there are many tools, right? N8N, Cursor, Replit, Lovable. There's so many tools there. But the point is, you have to engage with one of these things, right? To understand how it is. You have to understand the principles of these things. The tool is not important. The principle, understanding the principles, what they offer, all that is actually very important. And you kind of do this, right? So this whole thing costed me, of course, out of the $25, I think this thing costed me like some $3 or $4 to build this. Right? I spend about, I don't know, $100, $150 on Replit every month because I keep building something or the other. Yeah. Now, I have some programming background. I was coding some 25 years back, but so that sort of helps. But I can tell you, you don't need a lot of that, actually. You can just say, look, this is what I want, and you keep practicing it. So it's very important, even if you can take some personal things, that ideas you have, and start building it. I think it's a very, very important skill. Yeah.
Sanjay, Ankana says that can we develop the app in Gemini and publish it on Replit?
No. You go to so that will be more complex, but you go to a tool like Replit, and you can develop it and host it using Replit.
Yes.
Simple. Just keep it simple. That will be easier. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the entire thread, right, that I did, right? This, by the way, as you can see, we've been practicing for this webinar 2 months ago, from 2 months ago. So we've had several conversations, Yogesh and I, this team. So, but as you can see, it is kind of, I said it gave me a plan. So there's this thing called the plan mode, which you will find in all the, so you use plan mode first, and then you build it in, and you ask you to build it. So there's bit of things you need to do, but some very basic learning, no rocket science. It's actually quite easy. We should just follow along. Like I said, if you had the drive to learn, if you have the drive to solve problems, this can amplify it manyfold. This technology can amplify it, right? But it's very hard to build that drive in people. And that's where, you need to sort of work on it yourself, or you need to help others build that drive. Like Sushmita said, right? Take the horse to the water, and then hopefully they will engage, right? So if you use, I don't know if you're using that, somebody has posted something. This is what Perplexity gave me on the Claude engine. Okay.
So this is amazing, no, Sanjay? Within like 5 to 10 minutes, people are building so complex simulation, which, imagine if you were to do a role play in a classroom session, just to design the role play situation would take sometime 2 or 3 days, and then just limited to just few people like who are extrovert to come. Yeah.
Absolutely, Yogesh. So Tiny Magic, we actually train. We do a lot of training as well, and for every training these days, we actually build our own custom app or apps and take it to the training.
Got it.
Just for that training, right? We build it and take it because it's phenomenally powerful. In fact, I'm in the US for a workshop.
Sure.
More of a consulting engagement, but there we're having a workshop with a top leadership of a company.
Yes. So Sanjay, just from a time check, we are at 5:20, and I wanted to keep it open for questions for people, and they can ask anything that they want. I can also maybe share that experience of building that framework using AI. The industry-wise, if there is time, but I think we can unshare the screen and we can open it up for people. I think Jagdish has a question. So, team, I know in the webinar, we didn't really had so much of time that we could literally take lab for hours, but we just wanted to get you the confidence and the inspiration and the josh that you guys should try this out yourself and see how you can actually get in the areas that Sanjay spoke about. Each of these areas have got things that you could actually, build for yourself. But two areas that we thought are of immediate and maximum need, we thought we'll demonstrate that to you. But there is so much more that, one could do. Yeah. Jagdish, you had a question?
Yeah. Hi, Sanjay. Using Replit, can we build like questionnaires? Can we use it for a training for others? Like
Yes.
building,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you can. In fact, tell me, what do you have in mind, Jagdish?
So, in a training session, I just want to ask the participants to like similar like a Mentimeter. Instead of Mentimeter,
Yeah.
this can be useful to collect the learnings or check their behaviors or culture if I want to.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
while others are asking questions, I'm going to try and build this in Replit, right? So,
yeah, thank you so much, Sanjay, because Replit something first time I'm just seeing it is so
let's
much.
see if we can build this in
Yeah.
Replit. That's a great question. And the short answer is yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
I think
do that,
Sanjay, we
right?
can maybe Jag, if you have some time beyond 5:30, we can spend with you and do that.
Yeah, I can build
Maybe,
it for
yeah,
you.
we can, Sanjay, we
Sure.
can ask any other questions people have, so Tim, while you're, asking, your own questions, I was telling Sanjay that I myself tried, using, AI for building something that we've been working for quite some time that we wanted to. So Sanjay, you can unshare the screen for some time so that we
Yeah.
can do with Jack.
You want to build this in the
Yeah,
background.
yeah. Please go ahead. So I was sharing team that we wanted to build a framework that is, industry-wise, function-wise, seniority-wise, programs. So, for example, if you go to an IT industry, you will have, broadly four functions: sales, delivery, customer success. If it is a SaaS company, and then customer support. So, I was telling Sanjay day before yesterday that we use AI to build that. It almost crashed down the time if I were to do that. I want to just quickly show you what, that was built in, I think what you're seeing as an interface obviously was just about 45-50 minutes. You can see that here, so you can see how for each industry. So if you go to IT, you can see that each of this industry, has got four functions. You got sales, you got delivery, you got customer success, customer support. And each of these functions has got four levels of programs. So if you go and see here, you will see in sales, starting from sales foundation to sales execution to account leadership to sales in strategy growth. So in these four levels within the sales function, you can also actually see the capabilities. If you click on this here, and this is done absolutely without any coding, meaning this whole HTML, including the interface, you touch upon the industry, you go and you can see all that in detail without any single piece of code, completely with prompting. Now, only thing is to get to this level, there was a lot of work required in terms of thinking for AI, saying that, so maybe the starting point was to like understand how does a manufacturing work, how does a pharma work, what are some of the functions, and then create, so I use multiple AI interfaces. I use Chat GPT, I use Claude. So some parts were very good in Chat GPT. The output of Claude was very nice. So I combined that, and you can see this coming up here, that you can see the industries on the top. You can see pharma. So the point is that for any of our L&D interfaces that we are seeing here, today's session, me and Sanjay wanted to get to you that, any of us who don't have any coding experience, doesn't matter. Just the initial part of, do I look at AI as Einstein or do I look at it as an intern? That thinking has to happen. And this is my own, personal experience of building this so beautifully, which, would have taken maybe 3 to 4 months to get to this level, which was done in less than 45 minutes, the actual interface. But some groundwork was also not more than about 2 weeks job, which otherwise could have taken at least a 6 to 8 months journey with at least 4 or 5 people coming together. And that is the power of, AI. I just wanted to briefly share with you. So any other questions anybody has for Sanjay before we close today's session? Any specific that you want to share?
Can you bring back that slide, if you don't mind, Sanjay, where you had the various, where you said you pick what you want from training analysis all the way, that
Yeah,
3 tables. I have one question on that. Sorry, Yogesh, just one question.
yeah, I'll bring it up.
Yeah. In fact, this deck also, Vijay will share it with all of you so you can
No,
refer that also. And the recording anyway is there for you.
Given I have Sanjay on the call,
Yeah.
one
Please.
question.
Yeah.
So when you say, yeah, you put this up, which is great. I mean, that last part, the SaaS version, what was the, no, sorry, no, sorry, the SaaS version. So what is the implication here, Sanjay? Is it that when we get into that last piece, because if you remember, I picked context-based diagnosis. Okay, is the implication that we need to get into a service as a software to start cracking those kind of problems? I'm just trying to understand how to read this table a bit.
Yeah, basically, so you can augment your human effort. See, the traditional ones are largely very human effort led today. Whether it's a training program that you're delivering, whether it's need analysis, things like that. And there is an opportunity to augment that and scale that for very, very specific contexts by deploying intelligence. And when you deploy intelligence, it automatically becomes this other SaaS, right? Which is service as software, right? So that is really what this slide is trying to convey. That is, there are opportunities to move from the traditional human heavy lifting to augmenting the human heavy lifting with deploying intelligence of this kind packaged as software, whether it is contextual need analysis, diagnosis, etc. Right now, you can actually think about it. Right, you can actually do it for a very, very specific need, and it's not going to remove the humans. It will keep the humans will always be in the loop, but it can go further. It can go deeper. Right? Imagine a need analyzer that doesn't stop until it gets a really, really good picture of what is actually going on, right? That is very, very powerful. Now, of course, you need to build a need analyzer like that. That requires your expertise, all the lived experience you've had in need analysis, and so on and so forth. But all that has to come through. But now you have this ability to deploy that intelligence in context in that manner with this level of reasoning, creativity, and all that stuff. That is enormously powerful.
Thank you. Very helpful. And Tiny Magic is kind of bridging that frontier. Is that where you are? So Tiny Magic is already doing that kind of
exactly
okay.
right. So we help our clients imagine, frame these kinds of opportunities, right? Because we think that the opportunities are not see, the next big thing is not going to be a technology. The next big thing is going to come from somebody reimagining the world, of course, using technology. So how do we reimagine things, right? Because technology is that creative lens using which you can reimagine things. That's how we look at technology.
Yes. Perfect. So I think, Sanjay, we are at just 2 more minutes to go. We're at 5:28, and I just really want to thank all the participants for joining us in huge number today. And Jagdish will stay on for, yeah, you can clap for Sanjay and everybody else also. Yeah. So Jack, we can continue for some time. We'll show you what you are looking for. But team, hope you have joined the Leadership Chaska, URL that Bhavana has been posting. It's a WhatsApp group, so you can, if you, and we will soon organize some practice session. Otherwise, every 2 months we do a webinar. So if you join the WhatsApp group, then you get to get the first passes for yourself, and also we will send some articles, videos, just to keep you guys engaged, till we meet again. So thank you so much. Those who want to stay back, beyond 5:30 for 15-20 minutes. Sanjay is available, and you can ask any question, any personal guide, and you can connect with Sanjay on his LinkedIn profile. Sanjay, if you want to just quickly, I'm Sanjay Radhakrishnan. I think if you search, you will be able to
share.
yeah, you can share it also. So you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Sulbha, Bhavana, whoever has been in touch with you, and let us know if you need anything, any help on AI front in your L&D department. And thank you so much for joining. Yeah, and you can see Sanjay's LinkedIn profile also here, so you can click on that and connect with him. And then I look forward to seeing you again in the next webinar. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jagadish, I'm actually